What is going on, guys? It is Uncle Nick, and on this video we are going over the anatomy of a push press and or push jerk. And yes, I know you Olympic lifters, it's not a thing, but for us strongman and people that aren't Olympic lifters, it's actually a good tool for us to utilize. Some of you may not be efficient at the split jerk, and there are reasons why I push press when it comes to repping events versus split jerk, because it is a smaller movement, therefore I can get more reps done in less time. The main reason I do use the split jerk, which I went over in a previous video, is if my leg drive and my pressing starts to suffer, I use the split jerk to get a little deeper underneath the bar to make up for the lack of pressing through the fatigue. So a push press is when you get leg drive into the bar and then drive the bar over your head into the lockout position, not dropping under. That is what we call a push jerk. The only difference between the two is one, you drop back underneath, the other one, you're using that triple extension from the leg drive to drive that bar up over your head. That is the only difference between the push jerk and the push press. So how I'm gonna break it down for you guys, I'm gonna go all the way through the push press, and then at the end of the push press, when we get to the pressing portion, I'm going to explain the jerk that makes the push jerk a push jerk. Everything will be the same up until the time you go to press and start to lock out. Then some things change between the push press and the push jerk. So without further ado, let's go. All right, so first things first is your rack position. You have to unrack the bar before you get started on any lift. Some things to think about here is gonna be your hand position. You don't wanna be too wide, you don't wanna be too narrow. You wanna be just outside your shoulders. That's where I'm the most comfortable, that's where I get the most out of my press and my leg drive, is when I'm in that front rack position, like I'm gonna front squat with my hands just outside my shoulders. Now, I'm putting the bar right here in the meat of my fingers, not at my fingertips, about halfway up to where my hand actually meets my fingers, right in between there, where that first knuckle is, so then I have all four of my fingers contacting the bar. Because what's gonna happen is when you get that drive, you're actually gonna roll your hands forward so the bar ends up in the meat of your hand in the locked out position. Now that you're centered on the bar, I do about a half thumb's length when I start getting my hand placement on the bar. So I'm gonna take the center point, the middle of my thumb, and put that at the end of the knurling. That is gonna be right here at about the joint in that thumb. I typically go left hand, right hand, and then I actually drive into the rack. So I get that bar as deep as possible, supported on my front delts, so when I do leg drive, my leg drive goes right into the bar, there's no bounce, my arms don't act like a suspension. Very similar to a front squat. You're gonna want high elbows, tight upper back. You're gonna get a brace before you unrack. Some of you are gonna say, well, I can't get in that position, I don't have that kind of wrist mobility. Well, here's what I'm gonna tell you to solve that problem. I did a whole video on wrist mobility to get into the front rack position for front squats and push presses. I'm gonna put that in a card right up top here, and I'm also gonna provide that link in the description down below, so you guys can go over to that if you are having wrist mobility issues and you can't get into that position. The reason why I'm saying that is because it is important you lose pounds if you don't have the bar in that front rack position. Because what happens is if you're out front here, your arms act like a suspension. When you go to dip to leg drive, your arms and elbows are gonna sink, and then the bar is naturally gonna move away from you, and it is gonna be out front, and you are going to lose pounds. If you're out front on the deadlift, what happens? It's harder or doesn't move. If you're on an overhead press and you're out front, what happens? It continues to fall away from you. You see the pattern here? Keep that bar path close, keep it center, so it's a straight up and down bar path. So by having that front rack position nice and deep on your shoulders, you are eliminating any sort of movement that the bar could go outside of straight up and down. So if you do have questions on that wrist mobility stuff, make sure you click that link or click that card I just mentioned. The hand placement is gonna vary. You have longer arms, you're probably gonna be a little bit wider. Your hand placement is gonna be a little bit depending, but proportionally try and be just outside your shoulders. Now that we've gone over the hand placement, you're unracked, now your next step is gonna be the walkout. My foot placement is where it would be as if I were naturally walking. I'm gonna step out to where I'm going to press. So I'm gonna do one step dropping out, two step dropping out. What that's gonna do is I'm gonna step right into my pressing stance. It eliminates a lot of movement, a lot of stutter stepping, gets you settled right into where you wanna be. Your walkout needs to be the exact same every single time, no matter if you're squatting, overhead pressing, whatever it may be. On any lift, your setup needs to be routine. Now, as you get heavier, there will be a lot of head pressure. So if you need to rebreathe after that first brace on the unrack, that is okay. Just don't completely exhale on the walkout. If you're gonna exhale, it needs to be a short, choppy breath, just like I've mentioned in other bracing when you're trying to brace under a load. You will not get that real estate back. Because if your chest collapses, the odds of that bar getting out in front of you become a lot higher. So you hit your two-step drop, your upper back's tight, you've packed your lats similar to the way you do on a bench on the unrack. You are now ready to press. You get that breath, you get that brace. I want you to slam your butt cheeks together. Think like trying to squeeze like a cookie between your butt cheeks. Please don't go home and raid your cookie jar and try and actually squeeze a cookie between your butt cheeks. That's weird. But it helps you get the idea. It's a weird cue, but it gets the point across. Your upper back's tight, your butt's tight, your posterior chain's tight, your core's tight, everything's ready to go for you to start your press. Now that you've completed your walkout, we're gonna move right into the leg drive. Now the first part of the leg drive is actually descending. More travel on the descent doesn't always mean more power. This is where being explosive comes into play. Think like a quarter squat, not a half squat, a quarter squat. Just the very top portion of the squat where you drive your knees start to drive out, and then you explode from that position. Now you're gonna have weight on your body, so therefore you're not gonna be able to jump, but you're going to put that intention in there. Like you're trying to put that bar through the roof of the building you're in. Jump and punch. As you're descending, not fast, but not slow, with a purpose, as to maintain control over all the moving parts in your body. You go too fast, you could sink with your chest, break down. You go too slow, you don't really get that rebound reflex, and you waste a lot of valuable time underneath that pressure that you could be putting into the press. Descend with a purpose. Quarter squat, and then you're violently driving up. Now, if you have that bar in the correct rack position, that bar should come off your shoulders without even pressing, because that's what the leg drive and that rack position combined is designed to do. You get to the bottom of that leg drive, you are hitting hard and fast. Violent explosion out of that leg drive to assist that press on the way up. As you're pressing through the leg drive, you're gonna get triple extension. On just about any pressing with leg drive, you'll hear me say triple extension, because that means you're at the peak of the leg drive. As the leg drive starts and you start to rise back up, you're simultaneously gonna start punching to the back of your head. As the bar passes your eyes, you're gonna start driving your head through that window that you just opened. That is your cue. You see the bar go by? I'm getting through, getting underneath the bar, attack the bar. Do not get away from it. You get too far back, it's hard to recover from, because now the weight is out in front of you. There's normally a dead zone between the eyes and the top of your head where most people fail out, whether it's a strict press, push press, split jerk, whatever. Normally pressing in this area, that's where most people stick. That's where I stick. So you want to get enough momentum out of that leg drive to get you through there as you engage your press, so that you're able to build up enough speed and momentum to get through that sticking point into your lockout. Because once you get above that point, you get a lot more tricep engagement, and that will help you get to your lockout a lot faster. That is pretty much the need to knows on the push press, but now we are going to add in the jerk for the push jerk. The only thing that changes is when you press and you hit your triple extension, now you're getting underneath the bar. Allows you to move heavier weight that you couldn't normally just press out, which is why you see a lot of Olympic guys, they're extremely efficient at split jerking. That's why you got like 200-pound guys split jerking like 400 pounds. They're not pressing the bar this whole range of motion. They have a hard enough leg drive where they get the bar a few inches off their chest, but they are fast enough to get down underneath that bar. Now, a push jerk doesn't get you as low and as deep as a split jerk, but when it comes to reps, you can get more faster because you don't have to reset. You're still ready to press again, and you are still underneath the bar. So let's rewind back before you start pressing. Your leg drive is gonna be the same. Everything is gonna be the same on the leg drive. Now, as the bar starts passing your eyes and you kind of get to that forehead point, you should be at triple extension as the bar is getting past your eyes when you go to put your head through. So now what you're gonna do is you're actually gonna drop back down to about that quarter squat position. So the biggest conflict of interest here is you're trying to make the bar go up, but you're in turn going down. So here is a cue that I found worked for me and worked for a lot of athletes here at Neverstate. Push themselves underneath the bar. Because what happens is they start thinking about the drop and they stop pressing as hard. They don't press all the way through. They just are so focused on the drop, they forget to keep punching. To counter that, I say push yourself underneath the bar. Use the bar's weight to actually get yourself underneath the bar. So as that bar flies off your chest, I want you to lead with your chest and head. Drive your chest and head through this window. The faster you get through, the faster you can get to the lockout position. The key here is actually getting underneath the bar. If you drop and that bar sticks out in front of you, you're not gonna keep it there. You have to drop down and in to get underneath the bar. There's nothing slow about either of these movements. Do not stop pressing. Hard input to power on the leg drive. The bar needs to be as close to your body as you can possibly get throughout the movement. Straight bar path is extremely important when you're talking about explosive movements because that is the most efficient way to get the bar from point A to point B is a straight line. So before we get out of here, let's hit a quick recap on the entire movement itself. You have the bar in a front rack position similar to a front squat. Elbows high, big brace. Before you unrack, two-step drop. If you need to rebreathe, do so. Short, choppy breaths. Squeeze on that breath. Squeeze your butt together. Dip and drive. Quarter squat, knees push out. Then you are violently exploding up. Simultaneously, you are punching to the back of your head. And for the push jerk, you're doing the same thing. Unrack, walk out. Everything's the same. Everything's tight. You're good to go. Dip and drive. You're pressing at about 3/4 to lockout. You are pushing yourself underneath the bar, shooting your head and chest through that window to get the bar over your head, over your body's center line so you can snap to that lockout. If you do have any more questions on this, feel free to drop some questions in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer as much of those as I can. Just try and keep them pretty straightforward so it's not a big, I'm not typing a novel to answer a question. But I really hope this video gives you guys exactly what you need to continue to build on your push press and push jerk. Also, these Embrace the Suck t-shirts do drop tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, there will be a code that you can use to get 15% off. Uncle Nick Saves. So what you're gonna do is when you go to the Loyal Brand website, when you go to checkout, there'll be a promo code option. You're gonna type in Uncle Nick Saves, all caps, and that will get you 15% off of these shirts. I would like to get out a Q&A again for you guys. It's been about a month or so I think it's another time for Q&A. You guys usually come up with great questions, and I want to give you guys another opportunity to fire some questions at me to answer any questions that you guys might have that I haven't answered in previous videos. Drop your Q&A questions as well in the comment section. Just put Q&A and then your question. Try and keep this as best as possible to one question per person. Anything you guys want to ask, whether it's lifting related, non-gym related, whatever it may be, what I like to listen to, whatever, favorite color, ask away. But like I said, do your best, keep it down to one question per person, and I will have a Q&A, and I will have your Q&A answers for you out in the next video. But that is about all I got for you on this video. So until the next time, guys, you know what the deal is. Get out there, get after it, and embrace the suck.